ladies. It's good to see you guys. I was going to do a big announcement of our board members, but we all know who you are. So appreciate you guys being here and your dedication and your volunteering. Wanted to do a quick reminder that we're open to receive your annual dues. Very few people have signed up or renewed at this point. It is beginning of the year, so just know that that's really important. Not only do you get all the perks of membership, but it also really helps us sustain our programming for the year. All of the raw merger folks, you guys are good for 2026. Let's see, what else? We'll take any payments if you want to go talk to Kayla at the end of the meeting today, or if you guys just want to go online. Katie's made it super easy to buy not only or renew your membership, but also buy your conference ticket at the same time, which is going to be really helpful. Conference announcements. Conference announcements. We are having our conference on March 14th. It's coming up pretty soon, faster than I think we all kind of realize, but we've got a wonderful lineup. The day is going to be very inspiring and supportive, and just, you know the drill. Bunch of writers in the same room, and it's just awesome to talk shop. We do need some volunteers in a couple of areas, so if you might be available to pass out some posters in your guys' towns where you're at. I've got Rome covered. I know that we've got some people here in Cartersville that are going to be able to put some posters up on busy storefronts, you know, coffee shops, wherever you think writers might see it. Okay, perfect.
I'll do there as well.
Okay, I will talk to you guys after the meeting, get you guys some copies, and we'll chat about that. We also are looking to get items for our silent auction. It was a huge success last year, and
how much did we raise last year, Tammy?
do you know? A little over $1,000.
It's progressed every year. Like it's well worth it for sure.
Well, so like, you know, gathering, you know, items to make a basket is great. I've reached out to the Emperors again. We're going to get some more tickets. Yes.
Is there specific guidelines for ones, like, because I noticed last year for our silent auction, it was all Raven themed-esque because of Crow.
I think, you know, I'm bringing some things that are not writing related, just that might appeal to just the general public.
Okay.
But I think in general, we have done writing themed, book themed, stuff like that.
I did museums. I passed it to the 3 museums last year. And that was great.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic.
We've had photography before.
Yeah.
I bought the one, it was Bryant had the shooting range membership. That was great.
I've got a half-day fishing charter.
Oh,
today.
that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think just anything that you think might appeal to somebody. Hope if someone bids on it, great. You might find something cool that you like, and you end up bidding on it yourself. You guys are gonna have to fight me for that fishing trip, but you know, it's all to raise money for a good cause, so it's good. Let's see. So anyone who is available to do the posters, meet with me after the meeting. And also just keep thinking in your head, anything for silent auction. And we are also looking for sponsors. So if you know any individuals or companies that might be willing to donate to our cause, it's tax exempt. Is that the right word? Yeah.
Do we have like a little sheet we can show them?
I have a bunch of stuff that I can send you.
Okay.
Scripts and all sorts of stuff as far as, and also donation pledge emails and stuff like that. So I think that's it. Also, this year the Crazy Book Lady is going to be our dedicated independent bookseller. So any of you with books that would normally sell at the conference, you will bring your copies and she will sell them at their table. We're negotiating the commission rate. She normally says about 25%, but I think that we've got some wiggle room on that. So just keep that in mind. It's going to be a great opportunity to get your copies out there and have people see it. Yeah.
Tammy, do y'all plan to have authors there at a table too? The books just go through the Crazy Book Lady? Or
all book sales are going to go through the Crazy Book Lady. I have to talk to our authors and see if they want to set up tables. There's plenty of room in the venue this year. We're going to have it at the Civic Center and scads of room. So
yeah.
Everyone can have a table. You get a table.
You get a table. All right. Y'all hold this up? Yes.
That's right. That's right. But thanks for braving the cold weather and coming out tonight. Before we start with the programming, or do you want to do the announcement for the?
There's two more things.
Okay.
The first thing is blog signups. Katie, did you bring it over there? So if you want to write a blog for us 1 month this year, go ahead and sign up. It's really fun. You get to write whatever you want, pretty much, and it gets posted on our blog. And then the other thing is over there also is critique group signups. If you were in a critique group last year, you still need to sign up. And remember that critique groups are a member's benefit, so you do need to pay your dues before you can attend a critique group. Yeah.
Is there certain ones that are they already labeled which ones are virtual versus?
They're not. We're just getting the sign up now. See how many people are interested. Ooh, you know what I did write down there? Genre. Okay. I'll add on there if there's a certain genre that you're writing in. Ideally, we would be able to put everyone in their own little group, but it just depends on the level of interest that we have. Last year, we had a lot of mixed genres, and actually, I found it really helpful. I thought it was very informative. But some people have preferences. They want to stick with sci-fi or they want to stick with fantasy just because of the genre and stuff. So I'll add that to the center.
And can you talk a little bit about the pacing of your critique group and what that looked like?
Okay, yeah. So last year I did an online critique group. We met every 2 weeks. It was amazing, actually. We had 2 weeks to work our edits and write and read other people's material. And then we met on Facebook Messenger. And we had a 2-hour meeting every other Wednesday. We were sharing our files through Google Drive, which was really helpful because you could read their manuscripts and leave notes and stuff on the document, and then it really freed up the time to talk and connect with each other and not constantly having to write down all of your notes. Do you have any other feedback on how our critique group went?
I thought it went really well.
It was really, I thought, productive.
And I like the mixed genres.
Mm-hmm.
Because, well, I enjoy reading just about every genre.
Yeah, I mean, it went really well. I've also heard some critique groups, they will meet once a month. If you're trying to plow through a novel and your edits of a novel, a month would be a pretty tall order to be able to get through an entire manuscript in 1 year.
Yeah, so it's a great member's benefit.
So how much is usually handled? A chapter of a novel, a meeting or so?
We started at a 5,000 word limit, but then we found that we had plenty of time, and so we increased it to 10,000, where some of our chapters, were longer, or we just had more material that we wanted to go through.
But it's been on the group. So
It is.
I've been in critique groups that the limit was 2,000 words. So I mean, once the groups are formed, that's kind of something that each group can kind of tailor to themselves.
Yeah, I was in a group some time ago and I found out no more than 3 pages. I'm like, what?
Oh, no.
That's crazy.
So,
Yeah, that would be really tough.
Oh,
We do have guidelines that we post, that we have, code of conduct and the expectation. But again, once you get with your group, you see what everyone's capable of doing, what they have time to do. You guys can alter that for whatever fits you best. So, that's good. Okay, this time last year, I asked you guys to set up some writing goals for 2025, and you wrote them down in envelopes, and I've kept them all year long. And I wanted to pass them back to everyone and give you a chance to kind of reflect on what your writing journey was like last year. Did you meet your goal? Are you still trying to meet your goal, or have your goals changed?
Yeah, I want these for all the meetings.
They're all- so I'm going to pass these out, and as you are going through them and reading them, I've got some envelopes, so we're going to do it again for this year, okay? And there may be some people who aren't here. Remember? We had a huge group last
I hope I did it. Whatever it was, I hope I did it.
Carl.
I in college almost every semester.
So we're not having to defend what we wrote.
No, this is personal. You don't share. You don't have
50 lashes if you fail.
Today, I don't have this.
Andy.
I'll send mine.
Oh, yours didn't happen?
No, very close.
Okay. It's not a fortune cookie. So. You don't remember doing it? I don't remember. Something sloppy.
It says write 3 manuscripts. In black and green.
3?
Yeah.
Oh my
You know how
gosh.
many manuscripts I wrote? Divide that by 9. And that's how many.
This is for the newest.
Tammy, you totally helped mine come true.
Did I?
Mine came true. Ish. Yeah. I know, it's
There you
unfortunate.
go.
Oh no.
It's hard for me to get specific.
I had 4. I had 50.
You did 4 last time?
I give you a better chance.
Did you get 2 out of 4?
I got 2 out of 4.
You did?
The Woodlands is out. Here's a copy here. If you would like.
Well, look at you.
Uh,
Showing us up.
There it is. Yeah,
I'm terrified to look.
I did not finish editing my.
I can't believe you didn't write 3.
But I'm almost done.
I can believe
Okay.
I'm right.
I redone
And it continues.
a book that could be illegal,
Did you, wait, which
but I didn't
But I was
finish
gonna
my
finish the second
additional
draft,
drawings. to
And I'm
put
still
to
working on my
the
last 3 chapters. So I was very terrified.
That's thorough.
And then to have a professional
You
editor,
gotta say it again, keep it my words.
which will be on my birthday this year.
Oh, I tore up my eye.
Thought you were-
Usually I'm just like,
I don't either.
I've been wanting to do this.
Yes.
Our husband's for.
1000%.
I think it's because I've been working on that.
Are we just replacing our envelope, or we get a new? Are we putting it right back in?
I brought extra envelopes, but I don't see a reason why you can't.
Just stick it.
Great.
She wrapped it like a Christmas present.
It was sure.
Kayla and I need one this week. We're new.
Gorillas on the airline.
I don't need one.
You need another envelope?
Yes, please.
For hers.
A yellow one?
I don't think mine is still there.
Good luck, yellow.
Okay.
Do you have a color preference?
Okay, I sealed mine last year. Do you have a color preference? It's not gonna work.
Oh my gosh.
That's a terrible idea.
Just leave it at snow. Snow
I'm
and full
3
power.
and 2 year so.
Oh, really? I was gonna tell my mom to come.
I love it.
Yeah. Our church, we've got a lot of elderly in our church. Y'all mean elderly, who not elderly. Even without the tickets.
Like baby stuff.
Yeah, we have little kids or, yeah, we have, like our age bracket. Right, and nobody can come.
Alright. Your little one there?
I got more specific this time.
Awesome.
Switch marketing and all that. Well, I've slowed down with it a bunch, and actually I want to get back and do it more efficiently. I was like going dark, let's see what this did, and I want to be, oh, thank you. Is there a right way or wrong? Yeah. I think it's because of that new Goonies.
Our meetings are all.
I think so. It made me think there was really something.
last night.
Okay.
You never know what John is. You're real nice.
Is everyone done writing their goals? All good?
The con, like stories.
Okay. So our topic for today is whether or not we should use AI in our writing process, anywhere in our writing process. So first thing I'm gonna do is give a little bit of general information for people who don't really know what large language models are, and then me and Kris are gonna have a formalized debate on this, which should be a lot of fun. The paddles in front of you are so that you can heckle us. If you agree with the point, green thumbs up. If you disagree with the point, red thumbs down. Heckle us at will, and you are welcome to use your voice to heckle as well. This is a friendly debate. Me and Kris will remain friends, probably. After we're done, I hope so. I need to work with each other for the rest of the year, so that would be great. Okay, so IBM defines generative artificial intelligence as AI that can create original content such as text, images, video, audio, or software code in response to a user's prompt or request. I'm sure most of us have seen like ChatGPT, people putting in their prompts, and it spits out some kind of answer. So these text-based generative AI models include ChatGPT, which is OpenAI's model, Claude, Gemini, which is Google's model, Llama, which is Meta's model, and then there's a whole host of other ones, but those are kind of the main ones people are using right now. And they're getting better all the time. So, like for instance, Gemini is becoming way more popular. Obviously, ChatGPT is like the one everyone knows. Okay, so when asked what its best uses are, ChatGPT said, explain complex things simply, write, edit, and brainstorm text, which applies to us. Code help and debugging, study, tutor, and summarize, analyze problems and plan solutions, generate creative ideas, and practical help like travel, interviews, decisions. So the first thing we really want to do is get an idea of what you guys' preconceived notions are about this topic. So I'm going to ask you whether or not you think you should use AI in any part of your writing process. So put up your green thumb if you think that you can use AI in your writing process.
That you can?
Can.
Oh, can't.
Can. If you are willing to use AI in your writing process, put up your green thumb, and if you're not willing, put up your red thumb.
Right.
How far into AI are you talking about? Are you thinking about spell checkers?
So I'm talking about generative AI. So it is going to be, if you're using AI to edit, then yes. If you're using like Word spell checker, then that's not what I'm talking about.
Oh, for editing.
Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 down, and 1, 2, 3, 4 up. And then 8 down, 4 up.
Do it for email.
Oh, sure. Just that. Just so we can see. So basically, all I want to do is get a basis for the debate, so that after the debate, when we re-vote, we can see if we changed anybody's minds or not.
What's the number?
8, no, and 4, yes. Yes. Okay, great. So, Kris, you are the affirmative argument. So I'm going to set our little 10-minute timer. We have 10 minutes for our opening arguments each. Close out my little timer. And,
Oh, I thought you were first.
you're the affirmative.
Oh.
Do you want me to go first?
Oh.
Do you ever do the opposite?
No, I never think so.
So we don't know how you really feel. This is just your assignment.
This is how we really feel, trust me. Okay, ready, set, go.
Writing will create forgetfulness in the learner's soul because they will not use their memories. In Plato's Phaedrus, writing is treated as a tool people fear. A new tool will make people lazy. It will feel like cheating. It will let people hold knowledge without earning it. Centuries later, Johannes Trithemius aimed the same fear at the printing press. He argued printed books would never match handwritten codices, and that mass production would weaken the rigor behind learning. In other words, it would make knowledge too easy. We have been here before. A new tool shows up, someone says it will ruin the mind, ruin the craft, ruin the soul. What they often mean is simpler. It will change who gets access, it will change who gets to create. It will change who gets to decide what counts. That is what we are really debating today. My position is this. Using AI in writing is not cheating when the human author remains responsible for the final expressive choices and when meaningful use is disclosed. The ethical standard is not speed, the standard is intent, accountability, and ownership of decisions. I'm going to make 3 points. First, we panic about tools, then we normalize them. Second, authorship has never been as pure as we pretend. And third, this is not about whether a machine touched the draft. The real question is who shaped the story. Point 1, tool panic is a tradition. In Phaedrus, writing is distrusted. Trithemius distrusted printing. People later distrusted word processors, spell check, and the internet. Every time the fear wears the same mask. It is easier, it must be worse. If it's faster, it must be fake. But writing did not destroy memory, it preserved it. Printing did not ruin learning, it spread it. Tools do not decide whether we think, we decide whether we think. Point 2, we already live in a world where the author is not always the person who typed the words. Ghostwriting is real. Heavy editing is real. Franchises continue beyond the original creator. Sometimes a name becomes a brand. Animorphs ran for dozens of books, and many were gross-written. Yet the series still belongs to the names most people remember, because authorship and culture is not only about fingers on a keyboard, it is about stewardship. And look at adaptions. Oh Brother Roartho retells the Odyssey without being the Odyssey. The identity of a story survives changes in execution, because we do not define stories by purity, we define them by what a human mind is trying to do to them. Point 3, originality has never meant creating from nothing. What has been will be again, what has been done will be done again, there is nothing new under the sun. People quote this like a funeral for creativity. I read it as a description of creativity. We repeat, we vary, we remix, we take an old shape and breathe a new life into it. Gilgamesh begins as a tyrant, faces friendship and loss, seeks immortality, fails, and returns home changed. You have seen that arc in 100 forms because it works, not because everyone is stealing, but because the bones are human. Here's the hinge. If stories are built on older stories, if writing is built on inherited craft, then what makes a story yours? Is it who typed the sentences? Is it the name on the cover? Or is it the person who made the choices that gave those sentences meaning? This is why the word cheating matters. Cheating implies deception. It implies skipping the work while pretending you did it. So the ethical problem is not assistance. The ethical problem is misrepresentation. A pen assists you. A word processor assists you. An editor assists you. None of these tools are automatically a moral failure. They become a moral failure when you use them to lie about what you did, or to take what is not yours, or to avoid responsibility for the outcome. AI belongs in that same category. AI is a stronger tool, not a different moral category. Strong tools require clearer standards. It can be used lazily. It can be used dishonestly. It can be used to copy protected expressions, and that is wrong no matter what device you use to do it. It can be used as an outlining aid, a way to test structure, a way to reorganize a messy idea into a cleaner one. This is what it is best at. Not soul, not intent, not lived experience, structure, sequence, pattern. And those things have always been shared. So I'll state my standard plainly. The standard is this. If you use AI to generate a draft and present it as purely your own labor, that is a credibility problem. If you use AI to reproduce protected expression, that's plagiarism. If you use AI to impersonate a living writer's voice for commercial gain, that is ethically wrong, even if the law is kind of messy. But if you use AI to brainstorm, outline, reorganize, and then you write and revise with human judgment, you are still the author in the only sense that matters. You are the one accountable for what the story becomes. Now people ask, who consented to training data? Fair. We should care about creators. We should care about compensation. We should want cleaner norms. Scale matters, and the mechanism is different. A person reading a shelf of books is not the same process as a system trained on massive corpora. But the moral question people keep circling is still the same. What counts as theft, and what counts as influence? And I want to pull on that thread everyone pretends not to see. Most of us were educated on reading the classics. We are taught to imitate great writers by studying great writers. We learned rhythm by absorbing rhythm, voice by absorbing voice, structure by absorbing structure. Not one of us emailed Homer. Not one of us asked every living author we have ever read for permission to be influenced. And plenty of writers start in the most derivative place imaginable, fan fiction. You take someone else's world and you practice until you learn to land a scene. Nobody calls the act of learning through imitation a moral scandal. So when we say training data, let's be specific about what we mean. Are we arguing about corporate sourcing and licensing? Or are we arguing that absorbing patterns from existing writing is inherently unethical? If a model were trained only on licensed, compensated work, would you still call it cheating? If you use AI to reproduce protected expressions, wrong. If you use it to impersonate a living writer for commercial gain, wrong. If you use it to brainstorm, outline, reorganize, and then revise with human judgment, it's tool use. That is the difference between copying and creating. A tool does not have intent. A tool does not feel grief or desire or shame or joy. It does not risk anything by creating. It cannot be proud when a line finally lands. You can hand 1,000 people the same outline and you will get 1,000 different stories because authorship lives in choices. The choice to linger, the choice to cut, the choice to imply instead of explain, the choice to tell the truth sideways because telling it straight hurts too much. AI can hold the bones in place, only you can decide what the story means. So if we're going to call something cheating, let us be precise. In a classroom, cheating is breaking the rules of the assignment. In the real world, cheating is deception and theft. My standard covers both. Using a tool to think clearer, draft faster, provide better is not cheating. It is a craft, and craft has always evolved. Do not confuse standards with gatekeeping. Disclose meaningful AI help. Don't use it to impersonate or copy protected expression, and be able to explain and defend your final choices.
Yeah, I'm gonna systematically dismantle. Okay, in order to decide whether we should use generative AI in our writing process, we should first understand why we write. Considering that the most common view of money and authorship is that we are either starving artists or have a full-time career outside of writing, I don't think many people choose writing because of the earning potential. While some authors may write to market to maximize income, very few will realize a livable wage from their work, and so we must therefore look for the root cause of the desire elsewhere. Before her death, Joan Didion said, I write entirely to find out what I'm thinking, what I'm looking at, what I see and what it means, what I want and what I fear. Rumaan Alam, author of Leave the World Behind, said of why she writes, I think Leave the World Behind's optimism lies really in that one idea, in communion, the simple human reality of occupying space together. Britt Bennett said, novels simulate the experience of thinking another person's thoughts. In all of these assessments, the shared element is human. These authors write to find out about themselves, to create community, and to get inside someone else's head. Why would we invite AI into that space? Creativity is defined as the use of the imagination or original ideas, especially in the production of an artistic work. If we lean into using generative AI anywhere in our process, we will see a breakdown of creativity and eventually craft throughout the industry. As authors depend more on machines to tell them what to write, they will lose their grip on every part of the craft they do not practice. As with anything else, if we don't use it, we'll lose it. So if you use ChatGPT to generate a novel idea, or flesh out your characters, or design your plot, you'll lose your ability to do it yourself. But even more tragically, those opportunities to pour your soul into what the story is about, into what and why your character feels, into how your plot unfolds. When it comes to more basic things like grammar and spelling, using AI to correct your work means you will never understand the underlayment of language, and while this might seem minor, it will prevent artistic expression and its disruption of these rules. As our craft is broken down in this way, all stories will become more similar. For every part of the process co-signed with AI, stories will become more and more analogous. If a writer uses ChatGPT to assist them with creating their plot, it can only be based on the plots that have come before. And therefore, as AI begins to consume the media it has helped create, all stories will veer towards the same bench, requiring, once again, the raw creativity of the human spirit. Really quickly, let's break down each part of the writing process, examining why AI might not be the best assistant for that step. The first step to writing a book, whether fiction or nonfiction, is to have an idea. But what if you don't have an idea or have one that is not fully formed? We could set out on a quest to form our own idea, or we could ask ChatGPT. Easy. I write fantasy, so I asked ChatGPT for 3 topics for a fantasy novel, and it definitely produced them. Number 1 was the emotion-fed kingdom. In a realm where magic draws power from emotions, the ruler must suppress anger, grief, and fear in their people, or risk the kingdom being consumed by wild, uncontrollable spells. When a young mage discovers a way to harness negative emotions safely, they must decide whether to reveal it or let the kingdom collapse. Maybe you think that's a good pitch. Maybe like me, you think it feels completely contrived and unoriginal. When asked how it came up with the novel ideas, ChatGPT said, I came up with these ideas myself, using a mix of fantasy convention, creative twists, and what-if thinking that rather than copying them from anywhere. So the model is conflating avoiding plagiarism with creativity and originality, which invalidates the whole brainstorming process. Personally, the way I brainstorm is over very long periods of time, even years. For example, with the novel I'm currently writing, I had the idea to follow 2 sisters through a magical world 5-ish years ago, is when I had the idea. Over time, the idea transformed into following both of their husbands as well. As I let the idea marinate, it became obvious that one sister was magical and the other not, that one sister was able to have children and the other was not, that one sister was wealthy and the other poor. With the criteria put forward by the model, which was identify core fantasy elements, twist expectations, add stakes and conflict, and then keep it specific but flexible, this type of subtle storytelling with a literary sense of push and pull isn't possible. After brainstorming, we begin our research. Maybe you need to understand a certain time period, or maybe you're writing a book set in space and needs some physics information. According to AI proponents, asking ChatGPT for this information might be a good first step, but what if I told you that the sources of the information the AI model is using are useless? According to a study from SEMrush, which analyzed 150,000 AI citations across 5,000 keywords, Reddit is cited 40% of the time, followed by Wikipedia, 26% of the time, and YouTube, 23% of the time. Also in the top 10, we see Yelp, Facebook, Amazon, and TripAdvisor. Based on this, I think we can all agree that using AI for research is useless and potentially harmful for your project. Once we've amassed enough information, we can begin the plotting and development portion of our novel or nonfiction book. When thinking holistically about plotting, the number 1 word that comes to mind is subversion. In order to be successful in today's publishing climate, you have to look at the overall structure of a novel and adhere to expectations, and also subvert tropes and cliches. We can do that as writers pretty easily. One of the main strengths of humanity is pattern recognition, and that means we can see what novels we've read have in common and disrupt the pattern while still maintaining the integrity of the whole. For instance, in The Will of the Many by James Islington, a huge portion of the plot takes place out of school. We are in a magic world, so you may assume that this is a school for magic.
one of the genius subversions in this novel is that school is not for magic. In fact, using magical ability to get ahead is not allowed. Conversely, when asked to write a plot about magical school, ChatGPT says, a young student arrives at a magical school where students are trained in lost and forbidden arts. As they uncover dark secrets about the academy, they must master their powers, outwit a hidden enemy, and decide what kind of wizard or person they truly want to be. In the 3-act structure put forth, there are no subversions, only cliches, and while you could add your own subversions to an AI-written plot, you'd be better served to write the whole plot with originality built in. The next step in the process is to actually write the book. It's almost universally held that authors should not be using AI to write their prose, and I'm sure Kris would agree with that. If you use AI to write the actual work, there is no doubt that AI is the author and not you. I really don't think I have to go any further. Revision is the last part of the process, and it's another heavy hitter when it comes to AI use. Grammarly, which uses AI but not generative AI, has been used for years to help authors correct grammar and usage. Even this relatively small utilization creates problems for authors. For instance, Grammarly marks every use of passive voice as an error. While passive voice can be used improperly, it is not grammatically incorrect, nor should it be eliminated. If authors give up their knowledge of grammar and usage, all style will be lost. The only way to learn and correct your style, to subvert grammar for the betterment of English art, is to edit your own work. Revision is where words come to life, and no one should pawn that off on machinery. If Shakespeare had depended on AI revision, we would not have words like gloomy and frugal, along with many others. Another question we must ask ourselves is, where does the information come from that allows companies like OpenAI to have a generative model? In other words, if we ask ChatGPT, create a unique character, where does it get the name Iria Vale? In the Atlantic's article titled The Unbelievable Scale of AI's Pirated Book Problem, it was reported that Meta pirated millions of books and research papers to train its AI. OpenAI is also accused of using a large data set of pirated books and then deleting it to cover the tracks. So where does the name Iria Vale come from? It came from the data that was eaten by whichever model you're using, and that means it came from pirated books. If we as writers should be against anything, it's the unauthorized and unregulated use of others' work to improve our own. We cannot, as writers, use tools that blatantly stole from us and our friends, especially since the stolen material might be used to answer whatever questions about writing we have for AI. Currently, there are over 50 lawsuits that have been brought by authors and other groups over the use of pirated material in AI learning models. That number will ultimately grow until there is a fair use ruling, probably later this year. If the courts rule generative AI models can be trained on pirated material, all of our digitized works could be used without compensation for permission. I urge you not to support this, even if you think generative AI, if trained on legally obtained material, might be helpful for you. At this point, they cannot be separated. In closing, I want to say one more thing. I write because I want to uncover the pain and truth of the human experience as only the novel can. I write because I want to reach out and touch the heart of another person and allow them to see my heart. I don't think artificial intelligence has any part to play in that. Finally, in April of last year, our own Kris Owens wrote of Eleanor Clark, she didn't just tell a story, she built something alive. Well, I ask you, Kris, how can something that has never been alive, never taken a single breath, build something alive, like Eleanor Clark did? Okay, you get 10 minutes if you can fill that, which I will not be able to, for sure.
All right.
Is this the rebuttal portion?
Yeah, this is the rebuttal. So when she was giving her argument, she basically paraphrased Phaedrus. The new tool was going to cheapen the craft, cheapen the memories, there's the fear of the printing press, there's the fear of writing all over it. Like I said in my opening statement. New tools, tool fear, that's our tradition. But also, why writing, she brought up. And that's a good question. If you're writing to market, why wouldn't you use a tool to up your speed? Whenever you're writing to market, whenever you have a publisher, they want you quick timeline. And they want you to copy writers. They ask you, what's this like? What audience would this be like? So why wouldn't you use a tool that helps you go what they want? But on the sourcing, if you say that based on other stories, other authors and stuff, then you have to come back to, is fan fiction better? And yeah, a lot of fan fiction, nobody makes any money off of it. They gain attention. The writers gain attention, they gain a following, or in the case of Twilight, they did gain money. Twilight began as fan fiction. Fan fiction for 50 Shades of Grey. And nobody says she stole that story. They make fun of it, they make jokes of it, but she's laughing to the bank while they're doing it. So the real question is fan fiction theft? Is studying the classics theft? Is library theft? Is every creative writing workshop that assigns imitation exercises training people to write, is that theft? I don't think it's theft. But also we have ghostwriting, which I brought up in my opening statement. Whenever you have a ghostwriter, the ghostwriters aren't you. They bring their own experiences, they bring their own perspectives, they bring their own styles. But you're saying, I want you to write this story, here's a basic outline, and that's not you, that's them writing everything else out to your framework. Ghostwriters don't get credit. Like Tom Clancy, he died in 2016 or something. His last book came out in 2023. His books were ghostwritten while he was alive, but which books can you tell me are ghostwritten? Because they're not credited. But we have no problems with that. Using Chat GPT for info, yeah, I agree, that's terrible. That's a terrible idea. It's based on common usage. That's part of the language model, it's common usage. So this is more a statement on people in general than it is the AI. People are prone to go to YouTube, go to Reddit, wherever. I know several people who claim by YouTube to fix things. There's always an Indian guy who can tell you how to fix something. I don't mean that in an offensive way, but there is. There's always some guy who knows exactly the obscure thing you need fixed. But to touch on one final thing, subversion. That goes back to my standard. All AI does is structure, organize, and suggest. The final product is always the writer, the human, the tool user. The AI gives you suggestions, it restructures it, you see it. It's no different from a grammar check, from a spell check, any of that. You can reject it, you can keep it, but all it does is restructure it and give you what it says is a cleaner view. And it's up to you to decide, yes, I want that, yes, I want pieces of that, or no, I don't want that. It's based, sure, on training data, but so are you. You've read classics, you've read stories, you have a favorite author that you want to imitate. Everybody has something that they take when they put it to writing. But, if I can say one more thing, it really was papers. Again, fear of tools, right? Thank you.
Thank you, Kris, for bringing all that. I wrote a whole paragraph on that. Okay, so yeah, it literally says, Kris will say that innovation does not lead to overall job loss. It doesn't, but it does lead to massive job displacement. For instance, the printing press. Do you think that there are monks out there still writing illuminated manuscripts? Do they exist? No, they don't exist. Like, yes, people have other jobs. Like when something's invented, those people that had jobs in the thing that used to be the standard, they just moved to different jobs. But we're writers. We don't want to move to different jobs. Most of us, probably that's not our job anyway. So it's not about money. It's not about income. It's about craft. And if our craft is eliminated, then we're not moving to anything else. We don't, it's just over. So that argument is a little bit, it doesn't really make sense. In 1983, Nobel Prize-winning economist Wassily Leontief predicted that the internet would cause massive job loss. That same year, the New York Times reported that he thinks conditions facing today's technologically unemployed are less like those of the farm workers who moved to manufacturing and more like the plight of the farm horses retired to pasture. He was wrong about this, of course. The advent of the internet created more wealth for more people than the world has yet seen. This is the mindset that Kris is trying to dislodge, and he's right to do so because it's factually incorrect to believe that innovation will result in overall job loss. He misses the point, though. I'm not arguing that writers will not be able to get other jobs. I'm arguing that they will not be writers anymore, period. So this is the same thing with Gutenberg's printing press. Like, when the printing press was invented, there were lots of people who said, oh, like you said, that somehow books were going to make us less able to learn, and they're wrong about that. Like, generally, innovation is great for the population in general. It's great for wealth building, and it's great for just expanding our culture in general. But it does create job elimination. So I think that is kind of a false comparison. He also keeps talking about cheating. In my opening statement, I didn't say the word cheating one time. I wasn't talking about cheating at all. I don't think it's cheating. And we're adults, we're not in 5th grade. Like, we're not cheating by using these things, but there are other higher moral questions when it comes to using it. Like, should we be using models that are working up with millions of pirated books? Should we be using models that can tell us, incorrect information constantly, or that will strip away the craft from what we're trying to do? So let's see. Sorry. So yeah, he's talking about ghostwriting, and also talking about heavy editing. Yeah, there's been lots of books where there's a book called Remarkably Bright Creatures, which pretty well known that it was written heavily by its editor and not its author, and ghostwriting. But if you look at those things happening in the industry, is that something you love? Like, are you in love with the fact that, like, celebrities out here marketing books that they didn't write as books that they wrote? Or are you in love with authors that are getting most of their novels heavily edited by their editors? Or is this something that you don't like? Like, are we gonna pitch AI based off of the fact that we have these things in the industry that we don't like? I just think it's kind of a weak argument. And then he's talking about who is shaping the story. So yes, if you use AI and start the process, you are shaping the story. But what's that arbitrary line? Where is it, and who gets to set it? If AI revision is okay, we'll put the line there. But, like, why do you get to set the line of AI revision? Actually, currently, most publishers, almost all publishers, will not accept a manuscript that's been touched by AI at all. Well, spell check with AI, but by generative AI at all. It won't touch it. And you have to sign paperwork to that effect. So really, the industry is already starting to set that standard at 0. But why should we set it at revision? Or why should we set it at plotting? Or, what does that line look like? I think if you are arguing for the use of generative AI in the process, you have to be explicit about where that line is, what we are using it for. I think in my opening statement, I said something about, we're not using AI for prose. And I think that, maybe I'm wrong, but I think Kris said something about, like, we can use it to kind of fast draft. Well, if you're using it to fast draft, are you using it to write your prose? I really, really disagree with that. I think that, like, writing prose with anything besides your own ability to write prose is a deeply negative thing. But I'm sure there are people who disagree with me. So I think he talked about AI's strength is structure, sequence, pattern. It's going to be boring. You use AI for structure, sequence, pattern. The reason it's its strength is that it's spitting out all the time. Like, it's a computer. We know that's what its strength is. But you want your structure, sequence, and pattern to be something that people aren't bored by. And so I think that's actually a weakness of AI, not a strength. And then he also talked about authorship is accountability. Authorship is not accountability. I don't know, that's not an idea that makes any sense to me. Like, authorship is creativity, originality, execution, accountability, sure. Like, I think that's maybe the basis of, like, being a person, not an author. Like, okay, the argument is that if you use AI, you have to be accountable. If you use anything, you gotta be accountable. I don't really think that that's an argument for AI either. And then he's talking about, like, the line is theft. Okay, our moral line is theft. That's great. Okay, so we're gonna be down here with the dregs of society. Like, we can use AI as long as we're not stealing anything, right? Like, that's okay. No, I want my moral line as a writer to be more up here instead of down with the thieves and whatever else is going on. And then he also talked about authorship lives in choices. It does live in choices. Kris wants to use AI to make a huge portion of those choices for him. And I just think that it's a slippery slope into non-authorship. And how mad are you behind me? Yeah, authorship lives in choices. That's what he said. And I think that you gotta make all the choices yourself. And that's all I have.
Yeah. How can you tell if something's written by AI? You say that publishers will publish stuff written by AI.
Yeah, there's models that they can use to detect if it's written by AI, but in general, it will become harder.
An AI model?
It's an AI.
It is an AI model that detects the AI usage, but it is going to become more difficult for, as these models get better at writing like people, it will become more and more difficult for them to detect that. Schools are using things like these programs that record your screen as you write. But again, like you could write something on your phone in AI and just type it, looking at it, and kids do this all the time, right? So I think that is going to become even more and more a question that kind of haunts us all when we're reading. Was this written by a person? And I think it's going to come down to who are you trusting? Like what publishers are you trusting? What authors are you trusting? It's the same thing. You're talking about ghostwriting. It's the same thing. Like there are authors who lie about being ghostwritten, and so you just got to figure out who you trust. It is going to get messy though, for sure. More messy than it currently is, because right now there are already people doing this, especially in the self-editing space where there's no industry standard, or self-publishing, self-publishing space. There's already so many books on Amazon that have been written by AI. So if you are self-published, it is in your interest to have like a stake in this argument and understand that like a huge portion of the stuff on Amazon is going to be assisted or even completely written by AI. So it's messy, unfortunately.
I know that it was a slip of the tongue, but when you're looking for editors, you also need to make sure that they are not using the generative AI programs as well to help you with your manuscripts.
Yeah, if you're self-published for sure, because I know you said you want to have yours professionally edited. If you're traditionally published, generally you don't need to have it professionally edited before you submit. So it's a little safer because you're going to be working directly with an editor. But yeah, it's going to be the burden in many ways is going to fall on the author to kind of understand what's going on. Okay, Kris, ready to close?
I'm glad you brought up scribes and illuminators, because that's part of what I was going to talk about. Yes, new tools displace jobs. That happened when printing scaled up and scribes and illuminators lost work. That is a real cost, and it deserves real solutions. But it does not make printing wrong, and it does not make people using printed books unethical. It means society adapts and we build guardrails. The displacement argument is about policy and transition, not about whether the writer using a tool is committing theft or deception. Tools create winners and losers. This is why we regulate the harms, not stigmatize honest use. AI, honestly, is great for plotters. It's terrible for pantsers. Never use it for pantsing. But spell check makes writing easier. That doesn't make it unethical. Spell check didn't end editors. What's unethical is never learning to spell and pretending that you did. Grammar tools make punctuation easier. That doesn't make them immoral, and still, editors exist. What's wrong is outsourcing the basics and then claiming mastery you didn't earn. And notice the distinction. Cheating isn't the tool, it's misrepresentation. Spell check on a spelling test is cheating. Spell check on a novel is professionalism. Same principle, different context. Tools have always changed the work, and they have always changed who gets paid to do it. The printing press scaled up, and scribes and illuminators lost work. That was real. They deserved solutions. Job loss is a policy problem, a transition problem. Cheating is different. Deception, theft, taking credit while dodging responsibility. A tool does not become a problem because it's powerful. It becomes a problem when you use it to misrepresent what you did, or to copy protected expression, or impersonate a living writer's voice for gain. And the truth is, the industry has already decided tools are part of the process. Publishers are using AI in day-to-day operations right now, most often in marketing and metadata. Publishers Lunch and Publishers Weekly have both pointed to Penguin Random House's Book Boost as an AI automation system used to scale and optimize Facebook and Instagram advertising. Hashit Book Group has publicly listed AI use cases like keyword metadata optimization and automated targeting. At the same time, these same publishers are drawing lines around sourcing and consent. Penguin Random House has condemned unlicensed use of creative works for training generative AI. And that's the point. We can demand better licensing and better norms without turning honest tool use into a moral stain. Because gatekeeping is not ethics. It's just exclusion dressed up as virtue. If my opponent wants to protect creators, good, I do too. That means clearer rules, transparency, and boundaries against copying and impersonation. It does not mean calling every writer who uses a tool a cheater. So vote on the principle that actually holds. Do not steal, do not deceive, own your choices. Tools are not cheating, what you do with them is. Vote affirmative. And yes, I did use AI to assist in organizing my thoughts, and I used the mix of human and AI interaction to anticipate rebuttals.
So the ultimate bar here is whether or not you think this presentation is better, because I did not use AI to organize. I've put forward many reasons why writers should not be using generative AI to assist in any part of the writing process, but we have missed one critical thing. Regardless of how we feel about the impact of AI on our creativity, it can do one thing that is largely ignored. It can lie, and will do so to create a self-serving narrative, or a narrative that serves the interests of the companies that created them. For instance, when asked, where does the majority of your information come from? ChatGPT responded with, in short, from a mixture of licensed data, data created by human trainers, and publicly available texts. It then goes on to provide resources in more detail. When asked if there were any pirated text in its model, ChatGPT doubled down on the idea that it does not knowingly use copyrighted material. Conversely, in an article on Ars Technica by Ashley Belanger, she reported that OpenAI has indeed used pirated books. She says, at the heart of a class action lawsuit from authors alleging that ChatGPT was illegally trained on their works, OpenAI's decision to delete the datasets can end up being a deciding factor that gives authors the win. It's undisputed that OpenAI deleted the datasets known as Books 1 and Books 2 prior to ChatGPT's release in 2022. Created by the former OpenAI employees in 2021, the datasets were built by scraping the open web and seizing the bulk of its data from a shadow library called Library Genesis. This proves that ChatGPT has the ability to lie, not just speak to us erroneously. But what does that have to do with writing? Generative AI is not the enemy of writers because it will replace us. I'm not staunchly opposed to it because opposed to its use because I'm afraid. It is the enemy of authors because it is simultaneously diluting and corrupting the heart of what it is to be a writer. It steals, it lies, it plagiarizes. Yeah. It is a serious debasement of artistic purity and expression. It has no heart, no soul, no mind to lay out on the page. We could be nonchalant about the issue and look at the large language models as a self-serving opportunity. We can lean into the idea that AI will make our lives easier, but we must hold the line on artistic integrity and excellence. Industry will not do it. Government will not do it. We must hold the line ourselves. And that concludes our debate.
That was so good, y'all.
Oh, that's fun, honestly.
Very, very entertaining to hear arguments.
Well prepared.
Well, we're going to do a vote first, so we don't skew you guys with Q&A. Okay, so same question. Do you believe that you should use AI in any part of the writing process?
Now this is hard. It's hard without an explanation. It's hard to red and green it.
Any part at all.
If you use Google, you take the top thing these days, you're using AI. You have to.
Yeah, so it's often wrong.
People are using it.
Yeah, it's often is wrong. But come on, man.
I don't know where to put my commas.
Learn, read, comma usage. You'll be good. Okay, has everyone decided?
Say it again the way you wanted to say it.
Do you think that you should use generative AI in any part of the writing process?
Should you use it as a
Generative.
Okay, like,
I'm a people pleaser. It's my problem right now.
So you can still use spell checker and grammar checker in Word. That's not generative AI.
Right, Grammarly
So,
is considered AI.
Generative AI is like,
I do use Grammarly but I don't like just take anything it says. I'm
Yeah.
just like,
That's the thing.
Yeah.
that's the
You
choice.
can look at it.
Right.
and
Choice.
read it,
If
but
you think that that's
you
allowed,
make your
They
choice.
say it's allowed.
A spell checker and Grammarly and a grammar checker, whatever, still has to be trained on data sets.
That doesn't make it generative though. Generative means it's generating content.
It can-
Adapts to.
And Grammarly kind of sits in that weird middle, where it's not
Okay.
like there to generate, like,
It's a gen-
we're generally talking about chatbots. So like, you type in a request, it spits out something, right? Like, I'm not talking about, or me personally, I'm not talking about like on Facebook where it says like, let me help you write your post or whatever. Like, sure, that's generative AI, but like, that doesn't really apply to us.
okay.
Also, is marketing's not included in this?
No, this is just a writing.
So if you think it's right or you think it's wrong, which one did you say?
Which
You think
one's
it's-
wrong? I would not use it at all because I personally believe in learning the grammar and spelling. Like if you need to Google comma usage, that's not using the AI. But like I think that learning the actual rules is
I think
better
it
for your
can
writing
teach you
process.
though, if you see it correct a certain word so many
It
times,
doesn't
you'll
tell
go,
you
"Oh,
why
well,
though. It doesn't say, hey, you used this wrong because blah blah blah. I mean, I
Even
guess
the
if you
spell
asked it that.
the spell check
But you
just
used
gives
it,
you a
and
list
then
of
you went
suggestions.
further and figured and found out why it was. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
you're
why
gonna say,
I
why
had
does
Brie,
it keep
because
correcting me on this?
I don't
Look
think
it
you
up.
should. It's like banning books to me. You're not allowed to do it, so you can't even look at it.
Right.
I look at it and then I decide if I want to.
But it's not banning
make a
books because
choice.
there are lots of things in society that we don't do because it's wrong.
Or you could go to the bookstore and get your copy of the modern language manual, and a copy of the Child Manual style, and you'll have the data set for yourself. You can look up for yourself without going to the computer.
Yeah, so like I recently, literally, not recently, it was like 5 years ago, but I went back through all the high school grammar and usage stuff so that I could relearn and do it myself. And I do use like Scrivener gives you suggestions for commas and whatever. Generally, I disagree with them. I don't like them. I'm usually making usage decisions based on my knowledge and the style that I'm trying to achieve, the literary style. People who write literarily do not care what Grammarly thinks because you're using commas and you're using spelling and you're using it to create literary style, not to create the correct exact thing that the zeitgeist says you should be.
That
No,
goes back to the
You don't
tooling.
get to do it again. I can't do it.
That's
I
the
can
one.
pick something that I want to be unique in
No,
my
you-
style.
You
So
set out
like,
an
what is it?
outline, and it shoots out a response to the outline, and you go through it, you go, I want that, I don't want that, I'm gonna change this around.
Well, why don't
I
you
have
just
the
start?
general
Why
idea.
don't you just start from zero?
If we're talking outlines and plots, I'm no on the way, but if.
No, it's
Okay,
terrible for
So
writing.
let's say if we eliminate.
It's terrible for writing prose, but if you wanna plot out
You asked it again.
a story.
You asked one more time.
Okay, should you use generative AI in your writing process?
Generative. I don't like the way the questions.
Okay.
Can you use it?
Did
Or
anybody
should you
change,
use
did
it?
anybody change their previous vote?
Looks like the-
Yeah, some
Looks like
people
everybody's-
did.
I changed the reason it was this.
Alright, so how many
I'm still.
She's
Yes.
green.
Anybody
I'm
else
not
agree?
afraid of it.
Caleb's
No.
agreeing.
I'm not
Anyone
gonna
else
just-
agreeing?
I like
Okay, we
that.
got 2, 3.
And I'm
Vicky is
Republican.
agreeing. Okay. Now, if I said,
I'm gonna green.
should you use generative AI for anything besides editing?
No.
Anything besides editing. Can you use it for plotting? Can you use it for anything besides editing?
Character development.
Yes. Are you a yes?
Are we still talking fiction? Are we still talking creative prose? Or are we talking an email?
Anything? No, an email? No. I'm talking about
Uncomfortable
creative,
everybody else with this.
not just fiction, but anything that you're writing as a
What
professional
about,
writer.
use it as a thesaurus type function?
I recommend you type in thesaurus.com and
Well,
use
I do that.
thesaurus.com.
It's wrong.
But I use it for that. To-
Chat
to look-
GPT, or what are you using for that?
Google, I guess.
Yeah, so I really, the Gemini thing at the top of the page of Google, it has been wrong a few times recently when I have Googled something because I knew some basics about the topic I was Googling, and it's been wrong.
I
So you-
asked 4 questions today and 2 of them were wrong.
there. So we're gonna say 50% incorrect based on that very
I'm not
anecdotal.
afraid to use it and then make my decision as to whether I agree with it or not. I
Yeah.
don't like that.
If you
But-
were using it to learn something you don't know,
Yeah.
Okay.
if you're using it to confirm or to help you further what you do want,
Yes.
Does anyone think that you should be able to write prose using generative AI?
No.
Anyone think that?
I
Okay.
full on prose now.
No.
But you think you should be able to write some of your prose using generative AI?
No, not writing. It's structuring and organizing your ideas. Like you have an idea and you put it there.
Yeah. You think
No.
that you should be able to generate your outline basically?
That's the other side of the argument. You're supposed to.
The problem is you can tell when an AI writes just flat out prose and somebody copies and pastes it.
If you think
It's
that-
way too many comments. It uses the
M dash.
M
But the M
dash.
dash,
I love my M dash. Don't take my M dash. Don't take my M dash.
That's
M
why,
dash is like so popular in literary work.
and that's all that
Yeah.
AI detectors look for is
M
3
dashes.
comma sentence and multiple M dashes.
Okay, so there was this, we were in a critique group earlier this year, and I submitted a chapter, and Chris genuinely asked me if I'd use AI to write it. And why did you say that?
Because you had multiple 3 comma sentences and M dashes.
It's because I learned to write prose from literary works. Do you know where ChatGPT used learn to write prose? Okay, I have a literary style, where I lean towards the literary style. ChatGPT is trying to copy that, so it
you have a-
pisses me
you
off
have a
when
data
people are
set.
like, oh, you write like ChatGPT. I'm like, no, ChatGPT writes
That's
like
like
me.
you. Yes.
She has a data set that she imitates.
No, I don't. No, literally, the data set he's talking about is every book I've ever read, every article I've ever read, every person I've ever talked to. And that's insane. That's an insane thing to compare to ChatGPT ripping off 1 million digitized texts.
But
It's,
I think it's good too.
An author's note.
I'm gonna use it.
Okay.
I'm gonna use it as a suggestion.
So in the book, Relight My Fire by Graham Jones, he puts in his author's note, and I've had this on my phone for a couple of years now. I just really liked it. It says, it has been brought to my attention that authors should probably start including a note at the beginning of their books indicating whether artificial intelligence was used in its writing. First off, I'm inherently suspicious of such a thing, as while I have my doubts about whether AI can come up with a novel that is any good, it can definitely write a note. It can definitely write a note telling you it didn't. Second, I own a dog. 2, in fact, but one of them in particular is a high-maintenance, over-anxious, allergic to everything, financially crippling idiot. One day, I'll probably be able to buy a robot to walk the idiot, feed the idiot, groom the idiot, give the idiot all of his various medications. It'll even stand outside getting soaked while holding an umbrella over the idiot's head because he's terrified of the rain. But it's having one of his dodgy belly days. I can get a robot to do all of that, and then I will have lost the greatest friend I've ever had. Creativity isn't about imitating others to get it right. It's about getting it wrong in the right way. So rest assured, I wrote every word of this bugger and even held an umbrella over its head while it worked out some issues in the rain. Seriously, I stood in a downpour for 20 minutes because chapter 56 wasn't quite working. You're welcome. Let's see AI do that. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to walk the beloved idiot immediately because we live in Manchester and it's currently not raining.
yeah, so that's like one of my main points. It's like part of the point of being a writer is to learn how to write and edit your own work, and then do it. Like, why are you a writer if you don't want to write and edit? Like, why pawn that off on something else? I understand the time crunch of it, but just go be good at something else.
and the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Yes.
So, even if you're having a problem, like me, I have like multiple things going at once. If I get stuck with one, I just, kick it to the curb for a little bit and go work on one of my other things until I get that idea that helps me move that one forward. And I'm concerned about the guardrails. You brought up the guardrails and feature closing. Because technology advances at such a rapid pace, and the guardrails lag so far behind. Anything I put into that tool could be used for someone else.
It doesn't go back into the model.
Yeah, it goes back into the model, and it's just, it's
you're feeding the monster.
That's why I think in our critique group guidelines, I don't know if it's in there, but it should be if it's not, you cannot put someone's work into an AI model.
And that's
Because it's-
happening a lot.
Yeah, it goes into the black hole. It becomes part of their model, and it's not. Yeah, it is happening a lot in a lot of critique groups, and it's not anyone's place but the authors to put that into that model. So that is something that we try to address in critique groups. But you said you had something to say about that. Okay.
Computers have historically doubled in power and speed every 18 months. And that was with people driving that. Now that AI is starting to get control of that, it is going to expand so fast. I don't know how fast it's going to increase. In 5 years, you will not be able to tell an AI story from a human story.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. That is true. There is a lot of financial speculation right now in the market around you can speak, Kris.
There actually is a problem to that. People are writing, putting their writing in, getting AI out, but then they're taking the AI writing and putting it back in as creating this sensational loop that's degrading the AI writing. So actually, in a few years, you're going to really be able to tell it because it's all becoming
I said that in my
homogenized.
opening statement that it's all going to gear towards the same thing because
But
it cannibalizes its own content, so it's all going
But
to be the same.
that's how most media is. If you look at music and television shows and stuff like that, it's all homogenized because they're using not AI but the same writers. And
But
they're using the
novels are
same
not
ideas.
like that. That's the whole point. Yes, music, movies,
The most
everything is homogenized because of the amount of money in those industries. Publishing is one, sure, it happens too, right? Like romantasy is like one of those great examples, but literature is not like that. We have an opportunity to kind of escape that, but AI will ruin it if we are like, oh, let's just use it for everything.
So my son has a cat named Bruce. My wife has a cat named Buster. My son literally picked up the phone and told Sorrel, which is the AI model that he uses, he says, make a 3-minute country western song about 2 cats named Bruce and Bosco. Almost immediately, it spat out a song that is better than most of the stuff that's on the radio right now. And you could not tell it was, I mean, a lot of the artists are using auto-tune now because they can't sing.
Yeah.
All square waves, easy to tell that they're using auto-tune. This one, no square waves. You could not tell it was not a human being.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking about how another angle to this too is it's just like kind of to the point of what you're saying here is when you're trying to make it like as a self-published author. I mean, I've busted my butt. I've learned along the way. There's things that I would redo on and on. So I've done that hard work, and yet still you go to submit something and they want this polished thing, and you've got your human nature that's in the involvement of creating this. So I think it's almost like how you go on any social media and most people are uploading, they have pictures and everything is so polished and everything's filtered. And like, I try not to do any filtered pictures because like, I want it to be real. To me, it's kind of like that. It's like, there's this, drive for more and more polished, more and more flawless. And so I think that upcoming authors could also find themselves leaning in on those things, whether they agree with it or not, because they feel like, even though people are saying, hey, no, we don't want AI in what you're sending in, they want it so polished that it's not, I just think it could tend to make people lean that way.
Yeah, I think every moral argument is trapped between ideology and pragmatism. Something I've been thinking about a lot. But like basically like, yeah, are you gonna be ideological or are you gonna be a pragmatist, right? Like that's how all politics is. Like, are you gonna stick to your ideology or are you gonna be pragmatic? And that's where politicians get caught in the middle of like, oh, you lied about this, right? Like they run for office on ideologies and they get in office and they have to be pragmatists. So it's the same thing, right? Like when you're writing something, are you gonna be pragmatic and use this tool that can probably help you along the way? Are you going to be ideological and write something that doesn't use AI? You kind of have to personally
I think that also goes to, are you writing because you want to write, or are you writing to market?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're writing to market to make money, why wouldn't you use every tool available? But if you're writing for fun and creative, then yeah, you need to be more into it.
If you want to write
But if you can't write
romance novel that has the same exact plot and characters and sex scenes,
Well,
then
well, look at-
go ahead.
Well, exactly. Romance novels actually in the industry, because I knew somebody who wrote for whatever the big one is, but she writes overseas. They have a set guide for every story. It has to have the female lead, the male lead, they either enemies or whatever, they come together, there's one specific sex scene if it's that kind of genre or closeness, then the resolution. It's always the same story, different characters, different settings, but it's the same story.
You just say that the homogeny of like the movie industry is a shame.
Yeah.
That's the same thing.
But that's the same thing as using AI without the AI.
Right.
You have the set guidelines, you have the set story, all you're doing is changing the characters, changing the names, changing the setting, but you're writing the same story for 50 books.
Sure, I would argue that
And that's what
that's
people want.
bad.
But
You're
fine.
saying, oh, we should, yeah, okay.
If
Well,
if
that's
you're writing a market, that's
If
basically
you want to
what
write a
you
market,
do.
you know, I don't care. This is people's personal decision.
Yeah,
Um,
but if you're writing creatively, you shouldn't do that.
so writing to market is not writing creatively?
No.
Who disagrees with that? You use it, who writes to market? Does anybody write to market? No? Okay. I would think that authors who write to market would argue that they are being creative.
I mean, yeah, I want a book that sells, so I'm not gonna, you know, I wouldn't write a romance and then everyone dies in the end, like, they,
You won't find someone that's gonna.
Well,
like,
see-
who says that?
Shakespeare, if I write something
Romeo and
that's
Juliet.
100% Shakespeare did.
But no, there's a love story I wrote it.
Yeah.
But right now,
Really?
authors,
But those are the ones that do best. And a very small percentage of them. But if you write from your heart the thing that you should write and then you make it better and better and better, those are the things that turn the market. Harry
Well,
Potter was rejected by 12 publishers before it got published. And I'm not saying any of us are going to write Harry Potter. Please, I'll be your best friend. I really will. And go through your eye. But that's the stuff. That's the stuff that like is really pushing the envelope, and it's not what everyone wants to write, but like pushing the envelope is kind of
Catcher in the Rye.
Okay. Never mind.
He,
Oh,
exactly. He wrote from the heart. He wrote one book. It was never popular in his lifetime. It only became popular after he committed suicide.
okay.
Well.
He wrote from the heart. He didn't write
I
to
know
market.
you
He
don't
wrote
like it.
exactly what he wanted to write, and nobody wanted to read it.
I would much
That's-
rather be Harper Lee than name a romance author.
It's in the center of my bookshelf. I'm a big fan, so.
And that's the thing about Catcher in the Rye, right? It's loved by half the people, and then the rest of the people hate it.
Look at her face.
It's hated in the face. I hate
It's
it.
an okay
Face.
story.
You
but I
love,
really
you hate it, then you love it,
Yes.
right? You hate it.
Yes, I
She
read
went
it when
both
I was
ways.
19 and I thought he was a funny little
Yes.
guy.
Yes.
And then I read it again at 55 and went, holy cow, this is worth it.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
I didn't appreciate it when I was a teenager.
Where do you see the industry in 5
I mean, the only thing I liked was the scene with the prostitute.
I think
That-
that's
That didn't go
what's it
anywhere,
look like.
so,
I
you
think
know.
that if you're talking 5 years from now and what AI is gonna, how it's gonna impact even any individual industry, zero people know. It's gonna be really interesting, especially in 2026, because right now we're sitting on a stock market bubble, maybe, that is AI produced. So if the market crashes in 2026, 2027 because of an AI bubble burst, because what you have is these different companies investing in each other. So you have like Meta investing billions of dollars in OpenAI, but Meta also has Gemini. So it's this very like incestuous money circle inside the industry. And so if AI does not perform the way that the industry expects it to perform, we might have a bubble burst. And if the economy crashes because of AI, it will not be where people think it will be in 5 years. If the economy continues to explode, like this month we've done like 2%, 2.5% on the S&P 500. A normal month would be like 1%. That's a lot. That doesn't sound like a lot, but that's crazy money, right? So if it continues to do that, we're going to be in crazy places in 5 years. If we have a financial bubble burst and people become super disenchanted with AI, it's going to be completely different. So that's kind of.
I think. I think in 5 years, it's just gonna talk the creativity part
I
of
think
it. It's
it's
pretty
going through.
totalitarian in this creativity. And create, a lot of the creation stuff, you can easily see it in seeing enough of it. It takes reading 3 or 4 AI generated text where you start picking it out. And it doesn't carry an idea well. Details get lost, like if it's describing a scene. It starts off good, maybe the middle gets blurry, and then the end it either rushes or it goes back to the start. And you can just see it. It doesn't flow well. It's good for laying out a groundwork, but it's not worth the the time because you have to do so much work to fix it.
And so all that to say, I am not neutral, I'm fairly biased on use of AI because I literally work on AI compliance. I'm speaking to 2 Fortune 50 companies tomorrow about their AI governance programs. Just wanted to put that out there. I've got strong opinions on this. But I don't want to use AI, I don't like it because one thing, a lot of the industry thinks the trajectory is going to become like cable television. What happened with that? Where now you have all these streaming services that work just like cable, they're just all organized. And that's what AI is eventually going to get like. A lot of people think it's going to be like that in 2030, where it's free now. Right now, it's free because they're scraping all the data. They're letting you like scrape the data in. It's going to get to a point where eventually there's going to be advertisement in the AI, where you go to ChatGPT. Oh, you want to outline for your novel? Well, you should say McDonald's. Aren't Big Macs just tasty? You should put a scene in your novel about how tasty Big Macs are, right? It's going to get to that, and then they're going to start using it like cultural remove the ads. And then it'll get to a place where it will have ads and you'll still be paying for it. That's exactly where like Meta, OpenAI, Google, they're all going for that. They're rushing to force everything and get you to use it independent on it so that eventually they can start charging money for it. And I know that's a big gamble. That's like 5-10 years out where they can charge money for it. But that is the ultimate goal, is put advertising in and start charging for it. And it's a big, big problem for a lot of companies because you have people who've been working in the finance sector, IT, defense, whatever it is, for like 30 years. And like, well, I've been using ChatGPT to write email for 2 years. I literally don't have the skill set to write an email now. And that's a big problem for them. They don't want people getting too dependent on it because they don't want to pay for it eventually. They all kind of see that on the horizon out there.
Because the enterprise version will be super expensive.
Yeah, you're talking about
Yeah, that's the.
Yeah, but some companies, like, I worked at Home Depot quite a long time ago at this point, but, and not the store, at the corporate Home Depot. And, you know, we were paying for Google's cloud-based database. And it costs $1 billion, but they still pay for it because it's useful. So like, you don't think that these big companies will be willing to pay 8 figures for something that saves them 8 figures in productivity?
They will, it's not there yet. And again, to pull this back a little bit, I'm making big money last year because about 2 years ago, some companies were like, hey, I want to fire 2/3 of my third-party risk management program. I want to fire 80% of my compliance governance program. And then they use AI to do all that work. And I'm coming in a 1.5, 2 years later to fix all the crap that it put out because, you know, the artificial hallucinations. So I'm making big paychecks on that the last couple of years. But the technology is not there yet. It has to reach a certain threshold before people pull out and replace it.
Do you think it's there in code writing, or is it still like, because I've heard that code writing is its strength.
So writing code, what a lot of companies are doing with that is they're using artificial intelligence to like sort of vibe code it out, and then they're hiring offshore resources to check it out and test it. They're kind of doing that, and they're doing it because it's cheaper. They know it's, you know, produces junk, but it still costs out their traditional coding.
The dev makes like 200
So
grand.
would you say it's setting out a structure and then they're going in and fixing it?
I would more compare it to monkeys throwing stuff at the wall.
Hey, I'll say though, you guys did a really great job at showing like a round, like well-rounded, all sides, and making people think. That's
Yeah.
very
Okay,
good.
guys, so our meeting's over, we ran out of time, which is great. I'm glad we had a great discussion. If you guys have any other questions about this topic, we will be happy to answer them, or if you want to Facebook message us or whatever you want to do. Don't forget to sign in. Don't forget to sign up for critique groups. Don't forget to sign up for your membership, because you can't come to workshop or critique groups without your membership. Don't forget to buy conference tickets. Don't forget.
And do I have any volunteers? Do you have any time that you can take some of these TAC words and put them in some windows? You sound like really busy.
I'm actually a bit slow this month, but yeah, I think that's a pretty good fighter.
Okay, is there a coffee shop or a cup, like how many do you think might need draft work? 2 or 3? Okay.
Oh, yes. Don't forget to sign up for the blog.
Yeah, blog signups. Okay,
And Vicky, what's going to,
so you're gonna do something?
Yeah.
Okay, so like coffee shops and some, wherever you need writers.
okay, what is the art?